What's up everyone? Welcome back to the channel and thank you so much for being here for another video. My name is Josh and I'm just your average Joe day trader. Well, it's Monday, November 17th. The market's closed. We are looking to see how do we go into Tuesday with a day like Monday. If you were watching the market this morning, you saw that the S&P 500 literally through the pre-market was selling off this morning, and we all believed and hoped that we were going to see a green day today, and it didn't happen for us. The S&P 500 today closed 0.92%, the Dow Jones over 1 full percent, 1.18, and the NASDAQ at a 0.84%. And even though you're seeing in the semiconductor equipment or technology sector, not a lot of red there, the market overall did show a bearish sentiment. The S&P 500 through the pre-market continued to run down into the opening bell. We had a bit of green as the market started to rally a little bit. Here's the S&P 500 and what that looked like. So we were thinking like, okay, this is pretty good. We're going to run green a little bit. And then it pulled back to red. We're like, okay, let's see what happens. Boom, hit back to green a little bit. And then it was just the rest of the day watching it race downtown. And so 662.17 was the bottom for the S&P 500 today, which is actually just below a set support level that I have at 662.38. It came back up towards the end of the close. Now it's running sort of horizontal with a little bit of uptick right now at 666.12. But overall, a very challenging day for the S&P 500. Well, you know that when there's a challenging day for the S&P 500, most of the stocks that I love to day trade, that I love to be in and out of, pose and tend to show some challenging levels because the S&P 500 running in the downturn. Today in the Discord, we were talking about the VIX and what that all means. There's going to be a video coming out in the future to explain how we use the VIX, the VIX, which is a volatility index. As a day trader, I love to use it because when the VIX is higher, it tends to show more volatility, a quicker moving market on a lot of the bigger caps, and it gives you a better opportunity for some ins and outs on day trades intraday. And so I love it because you know that the whole purpose of this channel is to share with you what I track and trend as the best day trade stocks that you can get in and out of every single day, whether the market is on a downturn or an uptrend. You can get in and out of these stocks that are going to give you the biggest bang for your buck, no pun intended. And I'm going to share that with you a little bit. We're going to talk about some of those stocks today and what's happening. But first, before we do that, there's not a whole lot that's happening in the news that you would say is driving the stock market right now. Yes, we're waiting for, to see what still happens with China, but we've been talking about that every single day. We're waiting to see what happens with Ukraine. There was actually ink on a document today that showed that France and Ukraine entered into a deal together to provide fighter jets and missiles. So now France is going to be assisting the Ukraine with some of their needs, which is very interesting. Didn't really quite hear what the White House administration or how they felt about that, but that had happened today. And we obviously are still waiting to see all of what's going to happen with Russia, all of what's going to happen with China, all of what's going to happen with the tariffs, etc. So there's still a lot of volatility in the market. But what we're seeing right now, this pullback, this market breathing, I don't really believe has anything to do with one specific thing over another. I think that the end of the year, it's an accumulation of things that are happening and just causing the market to pull back. Well, what do you do when the market pulls back? Well, if you are a investor that's been in the market for a long time, you don't fear, you don't panic, you don't freak out, you don't let emotions get the best of you. You wait and you find the bottom and you buy a dip. And if it pulls back some more, you buy another position into the dip and you buy. As we know, we've all been here before as longer term trading investors or longer term traders. Some of you that are newer, I know some of you that are new in the channel, some of you that are new in the Discord, right now are stressing out a little bit because you've not been in a situation where you've seen the market pull back the way it has, especially after hitting all these basically incredible new all-time highs, right? But this is not uncommon. This does happen in the market. And what you do is you sit, you wait, and you go by the gauge of when there is fear in the market, it's time to be greedy. And when people are greedy, it's time to be fearful. And that is Warren Buffett says that all the time. And right now we're at a condition of the market in extreme fear, and people are panic selling and selling off. And that's what the VIX shows us, is that the volatility of the market selling off is still happening, but it also shows us we're getting close potentially to having a bottom. Now, we had said last week that there's potential for Monday and Tuesday to be sell-off days. A lot of profit taking from some really good things. Google was incredible, okay, coming off of the weekend. But a lot of profit taking, which is driving the market down even more. And then once it gets to a point where we're at a bottom, then potentially people are going to be buying in a lot. We'll see volume of calls changing from puts, etc. So there's a lot happening in the market right now that is driving those numbers up or down. What does that mean for me? What does that mean for you? Well, if you're here in this channel, and if it's your first time here, thank you for being here. Welcome to the channel. You're going to hear me talk now about some of the best day trade stocks that you can get in and out of every single day, regardless of market condition. Matter of fact, if you haven't been here before and you don't know what the list is, here's the list right here. Pause the video so you can go ahead and take a screenshot or take a picture of this list and start to do some charting on those exact stocks. Those are the ones that I trend and track over 30 days. I look at the 9-day now, 9-day, 20-day, 50-day, and 200-day moving averages on them to understand where there are best to get in and out of. What is the potential daily trend on them? How do they run? And these are the ones that I believe, in my opinion, and I use daily every morning to go through and look at and make decisions on which stocks are going to pay the bills for me today. For example, on my list, APLD, Applied Digital. I have many folks that are in APLD with me daily. You'll see this red thing. Don't freak out. This red thing is my box strategy. Okay, if I go to a 30-minute, you're going to see I do this daily. So yesterday, I boxed it in on our Sunday Night Live and showed everybody how this works. Basically, the box strategy is something that we use as a support and resistance level to understand where the stock is going in the daily trend. Boom! We've now updated the box strategy from yesterday. So you can see that the box strategy in prior day was a much higher elevation, okay, of a low and a high. Now we are living within this channel, which is not bad because it's respecting still even the levels here. And let me kind of make this bigger. You can see that through the pre-market today, it stayed leveled off on what we now call this median price for the stock for the channel today, and it dropped down and it held on this support level and continues through the basically the overnight 24-hour market to hold that line. So as we pull back into this, you're going to see that basically we're going to live in this channel now, and it's holding at this level of support. It clicked and banged off this support many, many times, and now it's running horizontal into the post-market through the 24-hour market. So what we want to see for tomorrow is we want to see this continue in the hopefully 24-hour market, an uptrend towards this median average pricing, and break through and continue to head towards the top level, which would be this resistance level. And so hopefully APLD gets there. But here's the thing about APLD today. And what I want to share with you is that we had several opportunities to make money in APLD today. Okay, APLD did a little bit of a different run this morning. Normally it opens up when the market bell rings, and it's kind of hard to see it with the red box on here. But this red candle right here pulled back a little bit, shot all the way up here to a high of $24.67, and then pulled back down, answer with this green candle, which shot all the way up to a high of $24.50, and then a solid red. Okay, so you had an opportunity right here at open to get in and make money on this candle right here as it pushed all the way up. The sellers pushed it all the way down, then into this red candle. When you hit this bottom and you got confirmation of this candle right here, then you had an opportunity to play it back up, and you could have ran it back up here from a bottom of $23.21 all the way to the high here. If you played it into this red candle and waited for confirmation, so the high is about $24.10. So, you know, you had an opportunity, one opportunity here, a second opportunity here. I played both of those and made money in APLD today. Then it ran down And, you kind of, as you're watching it on the 30-minute, you said, well, there's some other opportunities here to make money at the end of the day, but it wouldn't have been anything you wanted to get into because of the fact that really it was pretty clear as a horizontal that it was just running, sideways. Other stocks that were running today, let's just go to the AJDT November list. So I made money in TSLL. This is Tesla. Tesla had a pretty awesome morning run from 397.25 in the pre-market all the way to 423.96. So, pretty nice. It's about a $25, $26 increase in the cost per share for Tesla. But if you're like me, then what you're playing is TSLL, and it's a lot cheaper than Tesla. And TSLL is at $16.92 at close. It's up to $17.09 right now. But I rode this up here. I got in it early this morning in the pre-market at about $16.30 and rode this up until the double tweezer top. Okay, $18.60 high. I got out somewhere about $18 because I was waiting to see if this was going to continue, which it did. So I got out on this candle before it turned to another red and continued falling down. But a good run, basically, like I said, from from $16.30 all the way up to $18 is a pretty good run for the day for me on TSLL. But good opportunities for me today and everybody else that's following along. So you could see that even on a downtrend market with the S&P 500 running down, still some great opportunities to make money. And let's just look real quick at the rest of the list here. All right, AMD, not so much. Not very good day for AMD. You could have made some money here, and then it dropped off. NVIDIA, same play. You could have made money here and here, just like in like APLD did. I'm going to go back to the 15-minute and kind of show that to you. So a lot of volatility in there today, but you had one up, down, second up, down, and you could have rode it out. Palantir, these are expensive stocks, so you got to have some cash to play with in order to be in these. Palantir, listen, I buy every dip on Palantir. I know that Palantir is going to get back to its earnings jump to 222, over $220 a share eventually. We just got to get through this market volatility. I continue to buy Palantir for my long-term retirement hold. And it hit 160, what was it on Friday? $162. I bought more on Friday, let it continue to run. All right, now we're back here again, 167. Bought a couple more at 167. I just keep adding to my position every time it drops off, and this is not one I'm stressing about. Intel had a decent morning, a little bit uptrend down, and then responded with the S&P recovery at the end. SoFi's one, a little bit disappointing. I did my box strategy on SoFi, just kind of ran down all day. Could have made some money here, but this is a nice candle confirmation, and then you had this doji, which had a lot of, basically shows some indecision in the market. Anytime you see a candle like that, where it's basically the wick goes up and down with the candle in the middle, there's a lot of indecision there. Now, did it continue to go up a little bit? Yes, it did, but then it spent the rest of the day, for the most part, running down. So SoFi, not a great one today. Rigetti had a nice opening run all the way down. Could have rode it out like the rest of the day. We talked about APLD. QBTS. We all sort of thought the quantums were going to run today. A little bit disappointing on the quantums, but they didn't. QBTS ran down, but I bet you QUBT ran up. But it did have a nice end of recovery into the market close for QBTS. SMR was pretty disappointing. Had a nice little pump there in the end. But if you weren't paying attention, you weren't getting into that one. You had some opportunities in it. You could have made some money. Cypher, more horizontal than anything else. EOSE, pretty much just a down run today. QS was the one that had a nice run up this morning and then spent the rest of the day down. And here comes QUBT. Yeah, didn't really do it. Didn't follow. It sort of followed the same trend as QBTS. Did have a quick morning pump, and then it came down. You could have played it back up in the day. But if you had started here and ended here, you would have really gotten nowhere today. Open Door had two nice opportunities today to get in. Look at this confirmation. Hard wick down. Okay, turn to the green. You ran this one, wait for confirmation, get in it and ran it up. Very nice. And then as it turned back down, got out. It did break through this level right here, 792, but it ran out of gas. It wicked up, the sellers pushed it down, and it continued down. And then it basically just replayed the same thing it did earlier in the morning. NVTS had a really nice wick up, just like APLD this morning. So you could have been in this candle somewhere around $8 and ran it all the way up to a high of $8.33. Not big money on NVTS. It did pump though, but it spent the rest of the day kind of just going with the rest of the market. And ONDS was literally nothing but a big slide today. Wasn't anything anybody would have paid any attention to. SLDP, also nothing exciting. Did have a nice run there, a nice run here, and through the end of the market. Again, if that was something someone wanted to play at that value, you could have gotten in and out. BBAI, let's just not even talk about BBAI. I've had several conversations with the BBAI Army. It's back down below $6. We'll see what it does. I know we're just waiting for the $10 mark. Will it get there and when? We're all waiting and being patient about it. And that's all you can do is continue to do that. LAES was nothing but a downtrend today, and it's sitting at this close 412. But might be a pretty good opportunity to get into LAES at a lower value, but it's been on the daily nothing but a downtrend. So I believe there's still more to come. What's going to happen for us in the market tomorrow? Well, I really believe that we're going to see more red tomorrow. I don't want to kind of freak anybody out, but I think we're going to see, more red in the market, more pullback. We've got some things coming up in the news that potentially could cause the market to run more red, or depending on the news, could push it green. So here in the Thursday, we've got the jobless claims report that's coming out. We also have the U.S. employment report and employment rate reports coming out. We have the leading economic indicators coming out. A lot of Fed stuff going on. Don't forget on Wednesday at close, we've got NVIDIA. That's going to be huge. That could push this market to the green, and we're hoping for that. So we'll see. We also have Target, which is usually pretty good for early morning Wednesday before open, but we're not even there yet. We got to get through Tuesday first. So not a whole lot there that is super alarming, but there is potential for this to run down. So thank you so much for being here. If it's your first time here, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit that notification bell. Also, if you're interested in joining the Discord, hit this QR code right here and get in the Discord with us. But thank you so much. Looking forward to seeing what the market's going to do overnight as we approach the 9:30 bell when we really get this party back and started. Be good, be safe, trade right, use money that you have set aside only to trade in the market, not what you need to pay your bills, your mortgage, your rent, your car payment, or put food on the table to feed yourself and your family. Be super careful. Always do your own due diligence. Don't take anyone else's opinion as financial advice, including mine. And God bless you. See you tomorrow. Thank you so much. Josh out. Peace.